Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep on the one and only Sam Moore,
the soul man,
himself. And sadly, we actually begin this deep dive, with a bit of a somber note.
Yeah.
We just learned of his passing last week.
Very recently, yeah. He died Friday morning, January 10th, 2025.
Wow.
In Coral Gables, Florida. From complications after surgery.
Oh, wow.
At 89.
89 years old. What a life, though.
What a life.
What a musical legacy. I mean, just a huge loss for the music world. But, born in Miami, Florida on October 12th, 1935.
Yeah.
And Moore's journey really began, like so many other soul greats, in the church.
Absolutely. Yeah, singing gospel. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those soul greats really honed their craft.
Right in the church.
Right in the church, yeah. And I mean, would you say that like that gospel foundation is really what, kind of shaped him and gave him that trademark sound? Absolutely.
I mean, you hear that raw power and emotional depth. It's unmistakable. And that comes from that church background.
For sure. Yeah. And, it's that foundation that really set the stage for what he was going to become.
Right.
Because, in 1961, he meets Dave Prater.
Yeah, he meets Dave Prater.
And from there, we get
the legendary Sam and Dave.
Right. Dynamic duo.
Pure magic. You can't talk about Sam Moore without talking about Sam and Dave.
Right.
That partnership was just electric.
Yeah.
Bringing the gospel roots to the rhythm and blues and just creating something that was truly unique and powerful.
You talk about gospel and rhythm and blues, and then you bring those two together and you add this energy that they had.
That on-stage presence. It was just electrifying.
Yeah, it was incredible. And, we're talking about a duo here that really, went on to influence some giants in the music industry.
Yeah. You think about Tom Petty, you think about Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
These are artists that cite Sam and Dave as major influences. That's how big of an impact they had on the development of soul music.
Yeah. And they really did help shape the sound.
It's a generation, for sure.
Of a whole generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about it, too, like how many people do you think really rediscovered them in the 80s thanks to
the Blues Brothers?
Like what a revival for them.
Yeah. It's crazy to think.
And Soul Man, of course, being this massive hit for them back in '67.
Huge hit.
And then John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd come along and they do the Saturday Night Live skits.
Right.
And then they got the movie. It's like you have to wonder, would they have reached that same level of fame again if not for...
It's hard to say.
The Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers really did put them in front of a whole new audience. But, even without them, I think that raw power of that original performance of Soul Man still shines through.
It definitely does. But, okay, so we've got this explosive, success story happening on stage, right?
Yeah.
But behind the scenes... Not always smooth sailing for Sam and Dave, was it?
No, not always.
They
had their share of struggles.
They did. They had a lot of struggles.
And
they had a very well-known...
tumultuous relationship.
Very tumultuous relationship.
Lots of creative differences, personal conflicts. Their dynamic was just as fiery off stage as it was on...
Yeah. And even after they split professionally, they had legal battles over the Sam and Dave name.
Exactly. Just imagine the complexities of trying to navigate those personal challenges while also trying to maintain the successful career. It must have been incredibly difficult.
Yeah. And sadly, their story together ends in 88.
In 88 with Dave Prater's death in a car accident.
Yeah. Tragic end to a complicated partnership. But Sam Moore persevered. He kept making music.
He did.
Even though he had his own demons to fight.
He did.
We were talking about the 70s and...
Yeah, the 70s were a difficult time for him. He struggled with drug addiction, and that obviously took a toll on his career, on his personal life. It's a tough period to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's also a testament to his resilience.
It is. It really is. And a lot of people forget about that chapter.
Right.
In his life. And it's a good reminder that even our musical heroes...
They're human.
They face real struggle.
They have their ups and downs.
And this is where, his wife, Joyce...
Yes.
...really comes into the picture because she was incredibly supportive and helped him...
immensely.
...get treatment, get back on his feet.
She was a rock for him during that time, played a crucial role in his recovery and his eventual return to music.
Absolutely. And so, after getting sober... what did comeback look like? for a legend like Sam Moore?
Well, he was determined to get back to doing what he loved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stories of him taking any gig he could find. Imagine Sam Moore auditioning for oldies shows just to stay connected.
Wow.
To the music, to his audience. It's humbling and inspiring at the same time.
It's true dedication to the craft. Yeah. And I mean, that perseverance paid off. Yeah. Because he eventually releases a solo album.
Overnight sensational
in 2006.
Yep. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Really showcases his evolution as an artist, but staying true to his roots.
We'll definitely have to get into that. But before we do, there's another event that happened in Moore's later career.
Oh, yeah.
That sparked a lot of conversation. His decision to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration.
Back in 2016.
Yeah. That was a controversial moment for sure.
It was.
And some people praised him for promoting unity.
Right.
While others felt like, it kind of clashed with his history.
His values.
Yeah.
It definitely sparked debate.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not our place to take sides here.
Right.
But what's important is that, Moore explained his decision as wanting to give the new president a chance.
Yeah.
And promote unity.
Right.
It's a complex situation.
It is.
It really highlights the challenges of navigating personal beliefs in the public eye.
Right.
And, it really does remind us that our idols are complex individuals.
Yeah, they are.
Capable of holding what seem to be contradictory views.
Right.
And that's something worth reflecting on, I think. But before we go any further, what are your kind of initial thoughts on all of this so far? What really stands out to you about Sam Moore?
What parts of his story are resonating with you? Just take a moment and consider that as we move into the next chapter of his incredible journey.
Yeah. It's also interesting to think about that inauguration performance within the context of, Moore's experiences during the Civil Rights Movement.
Absolutely. I mean, he witnessed firsthand the struggle for equality and justice. And he spoke openly about those experiences, emphasizing the need for unity and understanding.
Right.
So to see him perform for someone who many thought is divisive, it definitely raised some eyebrows.
It did. And it made people wonder, do artists have a responsibility to align their actions
with their political beliefs?
With their political beliefs?
Right.
Or is their primary duty to their art?
Right.
To share their talents regardless.
Of the audience.
Of the audience, yeah.
No.
It's a tough question. It's a complex question with no easy answers.
No easy answer, especially in today's world.
Yeah. It definitely makes you think. But I think even with all the controversy surrounding some of his choices, it's important to remember the music.
The music. Always got to come back to the music.
Yeah. Beyond those difficult conversations, there's just so much to appreciate about Sam Moore's artistry.
I mean, that voice was pure soul.
Yeah, and the energy.
Unbelievable.
That connection with the audience.
That's what made him a legend.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of legendary,
I
think, his solo album, Overnight Sensational, really showcases his ability to evolve, to experiment.
Right.
But while still staying true to his roots.
Exactly.
And it came out in 2006.
2006. And we see this blend of soul blues.
Yeah.
Even some gospel influences in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that powerful vocal delivery.
Oh, it's unmistakable.
It shines through on every track. Yeah.
And what's so fascinating about that album is that it is a mature, reflective work, but it still has that Sam Moore fire.
It does.
It's still there.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't talk about that album without talking about some of the guest appearances.
Oh, the guest stars.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi. Billy Preston.
I mean, talk about star power.
Yeah. It just speaks volumes about, the respect and admiration
that he commanded
in the industry. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the album may not have been this huge commercial success.
Right.
But it was critically acclaimed.
It was.
And it even earned him a Grammy nomination.
For Best Traditional R&B Vocal Album. I mean, that's huge.
That's a big deal.
And it just goes to show that even later in his career, he was still pushing boundaries and creating music that moved people.
Absolutely. And speaking of, exploring different creative avenues, we can't forget about his forays into acting.
That's right. He dabbled in acting a little bit.
He did. He was in The Great Outdoors.
Blues Brothers 2000.
And Blues Brothers 2000.
And even a TV series called Julia.
Yeah. What do you think that says about him?
I think it speaks to his multifaceted personality, his willingness to try new things.
Right.
But it's clear that his true passion always lay with music. Always.
Yeah. And, that passion just resonates in every performance, every recording.
Absolutely.
That's what made him an icon.
Yeah.
And that's what continues to inspire.
Musicians and music lovers.
To this day.
To this day, yeah.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Sam Moore's life and legacy, I want to ask you, the listener, what's resonating with you the most? Is it the raw power of his voice?
His resilience.
His resilience in the face of personal struggles?
Or the complex questions he raised about art and politics?
Whatever it is that's speaking to you about Sam Moore's life and his legacy, I hope this deep dive encourages you to go out there and explore his music.
Yeah, because his story is really just one small part of this larger tapestry of American soul music.
And it's a tapestry that continues to evolve and inspire us.
Absolutely.
Thanks to artists like him,
Yeah.
who poured their hearts and souls
Into their craft.
And what strikes me about Sam Moore's legacy is how his music really transcended boundaries.
Yeah. It brought people together from all walks of life, different backgrounds,
Yeah.
political beliefs.
It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. It was the music that connected them.
That's the power of soul music when you say it's just raw expression.
Yeah. Pure emotion.
Human emotion. Joy, pain, love, loss.
The struggles.
The struggles, the triumph.
Things we all experience.
Yeah. Those are universal themes
Absolutely.
that resonate with everybody.
Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. You can feel that music.
Yeah.
Deep down in your soul.
You hit the nail on the head. And I think that's really, what made Sam Moore such a powerful artist. He wasn't just, singing words.
He was sharing his soul.
He's bearing his soul.
With the world.
Yeah.
And that authenticity.
It's undeniable.
It is. That's why his music continues to be relevant today.
Absolutely. Why artists are still inspired by him decades later.
And, as we wrap up this deep dive into the life and legacy of Sam Moore,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this. If you've never really listened to Sam Dave,
Do yourself a favor.
do yourself a favor.
Check out some of their classics.
Yeah. You'll understand why their music still resonates all these years later.
It's timeless.
It's timeless. And even if you're already a fan, go back and revisit those songs.
Yeah.
And really appreciate the emotion, the power,
The soul.
the soul that Sam Moore poured into every note.
Every single note.
Yeah. And, in a world that often feels so divided,
Yeah.
music like that can remind us
Of our shared humanity.
future humanity. Yeah. Our capacity for connection.
Empathy.
For empathy. Yeah. And that's a legacy worth celebrating.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Into the incredible life and music of Sam Moore.
Keep the soul alive.